You might think it's just cement in plastic bags. But what if I told you it's actually a clever shortcut to building something beautiful? In this video, we uncover the surprising reasons someone would lay Ziploc bags filled with cement across their backyard. And trust me, the result is far more inspiring than it sounds. Welcome to Home and Garden Borneo, where we believe that great design doesn't need a big budget, just a little creativity and heart. We've included helpful timestamps throughout this video, so feel free to skip ahead to the parts that matter most to you. And if you'd love to see a full DIY tutorial on any section, just drop a comment below. I'll personally add it to our community tab for easy access. Maybe to you, I'm just another person sharing ideas online. But behind every frame, there's a real journey and a small family dreaming big. This isn't just another home and garden channel. It's where hope, hands, and heart meet, right here in the soil and the stories we share. When you choose to like, comment, or subscribe, you're not just supporting a channel. You're giving fuel to a vision that's rooted in love and purpose. So thank you for being part of this quiet little revolution, for watching with intention, and for letting me be seen. One, the brilliant reason he lays Ziploc bags of cement in his backyard. In the stillness of an ordinary backyard, something quietly transformative begins. There are no power tools screaming in the background, no perfectly edited time-lapse, just the soft clatter of scoops against concrete mix, and the sun warming the earth beneath. A man kneels in the grass, his hands steady, his rhythm sure, as he fills clear Ziploc bags with soupy cement. It's simple, even meditative. This isn't about building monuments. It's about reclaiming space, one scoop, one seal, one thoughtful placement at a time. The bags, once filled, are laid gently onto freshly leveled soil. They puff and settle like stepping pillows, finding shape within the earth's soft resistance. A gloved hand presses gently across their tops, smoothing out air and imperfections. Around him, the hose coils like a green ribbon and a row of tools lies patiently waiting. There's nothing rushed here, just a quiet ingenuity, shaping something from nearly nothing. And while these methods may seem unconventional, they come from a place of practical wisdom. The result? A cost-effective pathway or patio base, molded not in a factory but in the heart of home. As the bags firm up beneath the sun's slow arc, each one becomes a building block, not just of a walkway, but of an idea. That you don't need a crew, or permits, or perfection. Just intention, effort, and the will to try. These visuals are meant to stir the imagination, not issue instruction. I'm here merely to share a collection of down-to-earth ideas that you might find worth replicating. Approaches that are both creative and, more importantly, reasonable for most to try at home. Because at the end of the day, a beautiful space isn't about what you buy, it's about what you build. And sometimes, the most brilliant solutions are sealed in a bag, set in the sun, and born right in your own backyard. Two, backyard cement pathway with Ziploc bags. There's a kind of quiet brilliance in finding beauty through simplicity. And sometimes, all it takes is a row of humble plastic bags, filled with purpose and set gently into the earth. In a backyard surrounded by soft soil and the tools of everyday labor, a path begins to take form. Not one carved from store-bought stone or precast perfection, but from Ziploc bags filled with hand-mixed cement, each one pressed, smoothed, and aligned with care. The afternoon light bends across the scene, catching the soft texture of drying surfaces. The air is still, and the only soundtrack is the brush of boots against soil and the soft clatter of tools set down for a pause. The first bag is laid, then another. Slowly, a pathway appears, not unlike a trail of stepping intentions. The beauty here isn't just in what's seen, it's in what's possible. A homeowner, perhaps for the first time, is reclaiming their ground one square at a time. You don't need masonry skills or a professional crew to achieve this. Just patience, time, and a willingness to shape something useful from the materials around you. As the shapes begin to settle, the imperfections become charm. The walkway begins to look like something out of an old-world garden, structured yet soft, firm but human. Please note, this isn't a construction manual, nor a rigid how-to. This is simply a sharing of ideas I find inspiring and realistically possible to try on your own. Every backyard, after all, holds its own rhythm, and every builder brings their own story to the soil. By the time the last bag is tucked in, the sun may be shifting westward. Footprints mark the fresh earth. The path, though not yet finished, already feels full of life. It's a reflection of effort over ease, resourcefulness over routine. And in that, perhaps, is the most brilliant reason of all. Three, glow-in-the-dark stone pathway design. Some projects whisper rather than shout. In the golden hush of early evening, a hand reaches down and gently presses a glowing stone into still wet concrete. There's no rush here, no frantic hammering or chaotic builds. Just quiet intention and the soft excitement of watching light take root in stone. The first time you see it at night, it almost feels like magic. A garden path that glows not from wires or electricity, but from tiny pebbles that held onto the sun. As dusk falls and shadows lengthen, these unassuming stones begin to cast their soft light like fireflies resting along your walkway. They don't blaze. They don't flicker. They glow steadily, just enough to guide your step and warm your gaze. This isn't some far-fetched fantasy. It's an idea, a real one. You don't need to be an artist or engineer. Just a bag of concrete, a handful of luminous pebbles, and the freedom to play with the space outside your door. Some of the most compelling parts of home aren't bought, they're built. And while this video isn't a tutorial in the traditional sense, I hope it gives you the spark to create something similar in your own style. These are practical design ideas meant to inspire, especially for those who enjoy meaningful work with their hands. Even the tiniest stones, when placed with care, can transform a walkway into something memorable. And when the lights go out and the garden is still, that soft glow remains, like a secret between you and the path you built. Four, rustic sand-filled paver gaps. Sometimes, the finishing touch isn't loud. It's the soft scrape of a broom bristle across stone. After all the mixing, pouring and curing, the final detail begins with a simple bucket of sand. It's poured slowly, almost ceremoniously, across a path that has taken shape not in haste, but in care. Grain by grain, the sand seeps into the cracks, settling, resting, locking the pavers into place as if the earth itself is holding them still. This isn't a scene from a high-end contractor's catalog. It's a backyard, maybe your own. There are imperfections here, footprints in the soil, clumps of dry mix at the edge of the grass, and tools leaning casually against a shed. And yet, there's beauty. There's real work. There's a story. With each pass of the broom, the path becomes more than just a pattern of concrete. It becomes something finished, something earned. There is a deep satisfaction in creating something with your own hands. It doesn't need to be flawless to feel meaningful. And while this video doesn't serve as a full instruction manual, it is meant to show you ideas that are doable and grounded. Ideas you could truly replicate with a free afternoon, a bit of sand, and a desire to reshape your surroundings. As the sun warms the surface and shadows slip across the joints, the gaps begin to disappear, not hidden, but filled with the simple strength of sand. This old-world technique, as quiet as it is clever, reminds us that sometimes the small steps matter most. And when you step back to look at what you've built, it's not just a walkway, it's a path toward possibility. Painted stencil concrete garden art. In a quiet garden corner, creativity blooms, not from flower beds, but from the soft tap of a brush on concrete. There's something tender about painting on stone. It's not just about decorating a space. It's about leaving a part of yourself behind in every brushstroke. As the stencil lays flat over the dry, textured surface, a steady hand brings life to each curve and petal. Dusty pinks, forest greens, whisper-soft whites. The colors don't shout, they speak. And around the artist, not a studio, not a stage, just sunlight filtering through trees. Leaves scattered on the ground, a garden hose winding lazily past, and paint jars standing at attention like little soldiers of possibility. This isn't a project reserved for the experienced or the exacting. It's an open invitation to try, to explore, to play with form and color on something as solid as a cement paver. Every line might not be perfect. Some edges will bleed. But that's the beauty of it. That's the charm. Many of us think of concrete as cold and utilitarian. But give it a little color, a little flourish, and suddenly, it becomes art underfoot. Let me pause here to remind you, this video isn't a rigid tutorial. It's a visual offering of ideas, thoughtful ones, that you can adapt and bring into your own home in your own way. The goal is never perfection. It's connection. And when the paint dries and you step back to see your garden dressed in pattern and color, it feels a little bit like joy. Six, spring color palette for cement tiles. Some days, all you need is a little color to brighten the concrete under your feet. In this quiet backyard scene, the dull gray of ordinary cement gives way to the gentle cheer of pastel tones. Sun-washed yellows, blush pinks, sky blues, and soft mint greens. A single brush glides slowly across each paver, layering joy into every stroke. It's not about perfection, it's about play, about turning the everyday into something joyful. The paint may smudge, it may drip, but under the warm spring sun, that hardly matters. Nearby, small jars of paint sit open in the grass like candy-colored invitations to create. A patch of earth becomes a painter's studio. Children's boots patter across freshly dried squares, their laughter as much a part of the design as the colors themselves. And as the garden awakens around it, the patio takes on its own kind of bloom. This isn't a professional project. It wasn't meant to impress a magazine editor. It was made to bring happiness into a space that's lived in, to craft a moment of togetherness between brush and hand, between parent and child, between season and soul. What you see here is not a tutorial, but a collection of spring-inspired ideas you might enjoy trying at home. They're reasonable, personal, and best of all, yours to make your own. Because spring doesn't only grow in gardens. It grows in creativity, in color, in corners of the world we thought we already knew, until we painted them new. Seven, DIY floral cement stepping stones. There's a kind of beauty that doesn't ask for attention. It just exists, gently, quietly, like a daisy painted on stone. In the soft embrace of an afternoon breeze, a backyard transforms into an artist's studio. Not with easels and palettes, but with flat stones, chipped brushes, and pots of paint in every shade of spring. Each cement stepping stone tells a story. Sunflowers that smile, tulips in full bloom, daisies dancing on rough, broken edges. Some stones are round, others jagged, but none of that matters. In fact, it's what makes them perfect. Because here, imperfection is part of the charm. You don't need expensive materials. You don't need to be a painter. What you need is a little time, a little sunlight, and the willingness to bring color to the places your feet may one day wander. That's all. The process is as soothing as it is joyful. A sponge dabs yellow into a petal's edge. A brush outlines green leaves curling across a concrete canvas. Children might help, or neighbors might stop by, curious and inspired. It's a scene many could recreate at home, and that's the point. These are simply ideas, tangible, sensible ones, to brighten your garden with your own hands. And when the stones are dry and nestled into mulch paths or garden beds, they feel like hidden gifts. Art beneath your feet. A personal bloom that doesn't wilt with time. So if you've ever wondered what to do with leftover cement or a free afternoon, this might be your answer. Not a guide, but an invitation. To turn simple stones into sunflowers. To scatter tulips across soil. To make a path not just for walking, but for smiling. Eight, Vintage Cobblestone Garden Walkway DIY. Building a vintage cobblestone-style walkway with DIY pavers. There's something deeply grounding about walking barefoot on a cobblestone path, each stone warm from the sun, each step uneven but reassuring. In this project, those stones aren't quarried or bought from a premium landscape store. They're shaped by hand, one by one, using simple Ziploc bags filled with cement, laid gently into the earth with care and imagination. The surface isn't perfect, and that's the charm. Some stones are dimpled with river pebbles, some are smoother, some cracked at the edges. You can see where the sand was brushed in between, where little tufts of green peek out, growing in the crevices like nature's own design flourish. When the light hits in late afternoon, the entire path glows softly underfoot, casting shadows that dance around the curves and corners. The journey begins with the intention to build not just a path, but an atmosphere, one that invites slow walks in the garden, one that tells a story of effort and thought. You don't need expensive molds or machines, just a flat surface, patience, and the willingness to embrace imperfection as part of the process. In this video, we're simply sharing a piece of inspiration, something we found joy in creating. It's not a blueprint, but a possibility. A project grounded in reality, built with tools and materials that many already have access to. The goal isn't perfection, it's personality. As the final touch, let the leaves fall where they may. Let the garden breathe its own rhythm around the edges of your work. And when you finally walk that path, maybe barefoot, maybe with a warm cup of tea in hand, you'll feel it. That subtle sense of peace. That reminder that beauty can come from things as simple as a bag of cement and a little time spent outdoors. This content is meant to inspire DIY ideas that are realistic and achievable for home settings. Your results may vary depending on materials, weather, and space, but the vision remains beautifully doable. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.